This is Things You Might Have Heard. I am Jay Cleveland Payne, and I'm going to present for you right now yesterday's latest in information, politics, current events, and pop culture. This is your go-to supplemental source for both mainstream and unconventional news stories you may have missed, with a little added context thrown in there. In the queue, 8 stories for the day from the past day that you said were conversational, and I pulled into this newscast, so you vetted them as good. I pulled them here to make them work into the story, if you will. I'll explain the vetting of our process at the end of the headlines and bring home some fun stuff for today at the end, so stick around for the full shebang. Our website is thisisaconversationproject.com. Visit us for more information about our full offerings from the Conversation Project. Of course, you can also email us anytime you want to at the Conversation Inbox. That's our email address, conversationinbox@gmail.com. Today is Friday, December 15th, 2023. Here are 8 headlines that you vetted as conversational and we'll put in here to the storyline. Starting with headline number 1 for this morning, going into this one very deep, and this is big. Navy Federal, nation's largest credit union, rejected more than half its black conventional mortgage applicants. Illinois NAACP conference president under fire. Whoa, I'm sorry about that. We didn't actually get that part of the script in. So let me switch over to a little part where I have the script. I didn't put it into the actual lead in there. So, pretty real. We're going to do a little producing on air, if you will. Bear with us for a moment while we get to the actual details of the story. Looks like we skipped that story. So let's go into what you basically have there. The world's largest credit union approved about 75% of its white borrowers who applied for conventional homes in 2022, but less than 50% of black borrowers who had basically the same credit types, the same people, all things being equal. This was an expose by CNN. So you'll probably see a little bit larger in other places, and some places may try to blank it down. Now, Navy Federal Credit Union is one of the largest advertisers on TV. And of course, it's known for taking care of military members, specifically the Navy, where it was born, and then it was spread out to other folks. So many people who are members of the military or foreign military are members of this credit union, which also one of the reasons why it is so large. So many people get a chance to join into it. However, if you're not doing your folks right, you're not doing your folks right. We're going to see how this thing plays out. Of course, Navy Federal is denying that it's happening, but we'll see if any other outlets will go deeper in detail on what they saw, what CNN saw, and going forward. And on the flip side, if anyone else is going to go and actually, stick up for Navy credit, it could happen. We shall see going forward. Illinois NAACP conference president is under fire for a video saying that migrants are like savages. It's kind of hard to just debunk that, but here's the thing. Here's the thing that always happens. I am in media. I'm in this video thing here. I used to work in radio, and when I was in radio, it was all about making sure you knew that mics were always live, no matter where you were. If you walk into a room, there's a microphone. You never know who's on the air, who has it on mute, who has himself just waiting for a spot. So don't walk into a room running your mouth, because mics are always live. You never know when they're not. And when she got caught on this one, there's not much we can say about that. Go to the link in the story and go deeper in detail into this going on. There's a lot of these things happening, and I say these things because they're political things, not because they're racial things. We've got one more racial thing coming up in a second. But we got a lot of these political things popping up right now, because now is the prime time to get into it. And with so many people of not the norm, that is people of color and women who are vying for high spots in politics these days, and it's really obvious on the Republican side, these things happen, and they shouldn't happen, but these things happen. And so you can take the slide or whatever you want to on this side and call it an idiot move. I call it an idiot move. But be careful, be wary, keep a lookout for these things, and judge accordingly, or with all the harshness you want to. You have that choice. I don't judge. Actually, I do judge. I judge a lot. Let's move on to the next story, which actually is perfectly in the script, so I can actually read it the way it's supposed to be. Twitch streamer, a black Twitch streamer, says he got 3 times the viewers by pretending to be white. This is something I actually know about. A little bit of sidebar at the end of this one. But a Twitch streamer who is black changed his avatar to a white man, a big cartoon character, and immediately saw a bump in his views. His views increased by at least 3 times, and he shared a video on X about this happening, formerly Twitter, to prove his point. Essentially, what you see in the story had about the mortgages, where if people think you're white, they're more able to get that. The story had that kind of went over for a year ago, where a couple tried to sell their house and got us this sort of appraisal. Then they had a white friend come in and change all the pictures, made it look like his house, and they got 3 times the appraisal number, things like that. And of course, I've seen it myself when, because having a voice like this meant I can make phone calls to people, and people would not understand initially that what I was, who I was. I mean, it was really weird when I was managing a Christian a Christian music station that played like the old school gospel and Southern gospel stuff, and people show up at the station, and this short black guy is there, like, yeah, I'm running the station, I'm a guy, I'm doing all the buttons, you're welcome. It would get a little weird sometimes, a little icy, if you will, because people expect certain things. I've seen this before. He said he felt betrayed by his viewers and by Twitch just in itself, and probably wouldn't go on camera again. He will continue to do what he can do and try to be what he is, but he can't really be himself, essentially, because literally being himself means he gets less viewers. Something I see here as well. Updates on the synagogue president, Samantha Woll's murder. A man has been charged in the murder of the Detroit synagogue president. Wayne County prosecutor Kim Worthy charged Michael Manuel Jackson Bolanos, 4 names, with a murder, lying to a peace officer, and home invasion in the death of Samantha Woll. It's believed that Woll was stabbed inside her home before making her way out to the yard where she was found. It's deemed a home invasion. This was not necessarily a hate crime. It's basically a crime of convenience. Someone tried to rob the house. The homeowner came home and was attacked in the action. That's essentially where we are. So the hate crime thoughts have essentially been washed away from this. But in the times that we're living in, they all can be seen pretty easily as kind of a bit of a hate crime. Let's move on to the next story. Home Alone, Nightmare Before Christmas, and 12 Years a Slave among 25 films selected for National Film Registry. Now, we had an issue with the link originally for this one that barely died for us. It was from a different blog from Disney, because they also had, because they were a Disney link, a Disney blog, they were pushing for Lady and the Tramp, also one of the movies that has been selected to the registry. Go to this link at People Magazine, the new link we have. Hopefully you have it. Otherwise, search for National Film Registry and find the 25 films that are going into the vault this year, including Home Alone, Nightmare Before Christmas, 12 Years a Slave, as I said, Lady and the Tramp, and other great movies for over the past quarter century, essentially. Great movies from time, even further back than that, that are going to be preserved for going forward for all time, or until, we lose that building, I guess. Curb Your Enthusiasm, ending with season 12, as Larry David says, I bid you farewell. This has been known for a while. We put this in there and you guys responded because apparently we got a lot of Curb fans out there. The final season's happening. It's going to shed his Larry David persona, that being Larry David, and be more like a thoughtful, kind, caring, considerate human being he was intended to be. We will see how that works out. The final season will feature folks like Tracy Ullman, also Irma Koshkoski, and other folks out there you've known and loved as they go out with a bang this season. MrBeast is ordered to stop using the phrase Deez Nuts on his nuts as his candy bars because it's too similar to Deez Nuts. He's using Deez Nuts, D-E-E-Z, if you didn't know, because it's like the oldest joke in the world for 8th graders, and I still laugh every time I hear it, versus a company that goes by Deez, D-E-S, apostrophe S, Nuts, which I'm not sure why they would do that, knowing that the Deez Nuts joke is, like literally going on there. But because of that, MrBeast has to change the name of Deez Nuts because it's too similar to the snack company Deez Nuts. I think that explains it all. And by the way, since we're on food, Coca-Cola recalling 2,000 cases of drinks due to potential contaminations. This is Sprite, Diet Coke, and Orange Fanta, distributed in Alabama, Mississippi, and Florida. Cans may contain foreign material. That's all they're saying. The recall is complete. There's no more affected cans on the market. So once you find those cans, if you go to the link and see if you get details on what the cans are, what's the labels on them, how you can determine where they are, take them back to the store, throw them out, be done with them. And once you are done with these cans, there's no more issues with other cans. These cans, if you will. I had to throw it in there. Today's apologies, errors, and omissions. We have an apology from an error. Yesterday, we had a story about Luke Combs. And actually, the story was in the actual omissions because we didn't have space for it. Luke Combs actually did not have to deal with this story because he found out what was happening. A lady was selling tumblers with his logo on it, and because she was trying to raise money for herself, she had medical bills. She was trying to do that, and she was just basic Etsy type person. Sold about $380 worth, and because she was found out by the lawyers, had to pay back, was sued and lost for $250,000. Luke Combs is like, nope, not going to do this. Not only did he say don't do that, he actually paid her double what she earned in the cups and put those cups on his website. So now she's selling them legit via Luke Combs, i.e., don't go around selling other people's stuff regardless. Luke Combs seems like a nice guy. Other folks would probably take their $250,000 and run with it. Things we're omitting today, two basketball stories that are pretty big. One, Giannis Antetokounmpo, totally butchered that, but Giannis Antetokounmpo, I should say that properly. I'm in a rush, so bear with that. Scored a record franchise 64 points for the Bucks the other night and didn't get the game ball because they played in Indiana. Indiana gave it to a team member they had there who scored their first NBA point. Giannis wanted the game ball because he did big stuff, and there was a big kerfuffle. It was pretty nasty for what it was. We also have big news coming in the NBA where Warriors star Draymond Green, whose name I can't actually pronounce, was suspended indefinitely by the NBA. He basically hit the third guy in the mouth this year, literally, because he's Draymond Green. His coach says this may be a positive thing, as he may, figure out how to work on whatever it is going on, his anger, his rage, his just lack of control of his arms, and things will get better on the back end. But Draymond Green out indefinitely, suspended indefinitely for a while because, you hit three guys in the mouth over a season. It's a trend. You got some sort of trend going on. You need to work on something. Let's talk about our teaser story for this morning. This is a story we can talk about tomorrow, or actually, it's going to be for Monday. So we are on the Friday edition, and we're going to prep for the Monday edition of Things You Might Have Heard, plus the weekend shows as well. This is a story that, if it survives, if you guys give enough credit, enough conversational love, if you will bring to the forefront on the Monday edition of Things You Might Have Heard. And this story will have to be in the top 30 of 90 or so stories. So we make it a top 30 story and we pick it out with what's going on. There's nothing insanely crazy, or no one attacks anybody out of the ordinary. We'll be good to get this one pretty much in there because I want to talk about this one. This one came in late, and part of the reason why we're kind of on our lateness and getting things started. But you go to our feeds on Facebook and Twitter, facebook.com/This Is a Conversation Project, and twitter.com/th_conversation, and engage in the story. Like it, love it, hate it. This is one you'll probably see on Facebook more than mean faces, all those things like that. And if it gets high enough to be in the top 30 for the weekend, we will get it in there. If I see it, it'll be one of the top 10 guaranteed, one of 10 guaranteed. Now, let's get to the actual headline as we kind of vamp that up to get the buttons in place. Living Color say band is shunned by black entertainment outlets for playing, quote, white people music. We've been in a lot of blackity black today, and it just sort of happened. Not necessarily it was something I was planned and something I looked for, but it's something happened. And when this one popped up, because Living Color is literally one of my favorite bands of all time. And if you don't know, I'm not a glamour boy because I'm fierce. There you go. And this is something that I wish that bands like Living Color or the air quotes black bands that play instruments got more love, especially from that time back in more through the 80s and the 90s. When there was the R&B sound was more R&B and less rappers sort of trying to sing, and the sound that was actual music, rock music I should say, was really heavily populated and heavily influenced by the roots of rock and roll music and the music itself, black people, especially groups like Living Color, who broke out in all spades to basically take over the world of rock for a while. But then, of course, the fact that they were black meant the black audiences did not get this. Sidebar, same issue in high school. I moved from Germany because I was an Army brat to high school in rural Louisiana, and people, Living Color was hot at that time, rolling into really 1990, and people just literally couldn't understand it. They had no idea what was happening because they weren't playing R&B, they weren't singing rap songs, and it was whatever. And unfortunately, in the timeline as was, a lot of the big things I was going through was a lot of the switch over to rap getting a little harder. And then, oddly enough, I went into grunge. I went into rock stuff. And a lot of black guys played that as well, because It's got a soulful music to it and a lot of rhythm into it and a lot of edgy stuff that a lot of folks who play instruments get into. Unfortunately, don't have the talent for instruments. I'm just rambling way too much on this one. But guess what? We're talking about this one Monday if you deem it worthy. Make it in the top 30 for the weekend. Make it live through the weekend. And we'll talk about Living Color saying that they're not getting their dues on black music channels, black music venues, black music outlets because they're not black enough. Let's just say it like that. Our sponsor that we're highlighting today is YouTube TV. YouTube TV is the best way to get the best live streaming service overall. So that's a quote that I can't see who said it because my face is hovering over it right now. But somebody said it. I'm sure somebody has said it. It's probably just some sort of statement that he put in there for marketing. But guess what? It's pretty cool. I've been using YouTube TV for many, many years. And while everything has its issues, it's the one that gets along with my stuff very well. We get 6 different accounts for what's going on. I use this at home, so I have 2 accounts to bounce back and forth on, and all the family have their accounts with their own DVRs, their own channels, their own things going on. I use this for work stuff, so I have 2 accounts I manage for different work projects, and other people can have their work projects done as well, so they can, air quotes, check out the news. Because they're checking out the news. They're not actually checking, they're watching sports. But anyway, you get it. It's a great way. You have your personal DVR. You can watch it on any device you want to, your computer, your smart TV, your phone. And it is one of the greatest things out there. They're also lined up with NFL Sunday Ticket. They actually own NFL Sunday Ticket. So don't take any substitutions. They have access to NBA Pass, League Pass, and the NHL passes. And for baseball, you have it all. All the sports, all the premium channels, all links together through YouTube TV. Check it out today, and we have a little deal for you. Save a little extra money using our link. This is theconversationproject.com/YouTube TV. This is theconversationproject.com/YouTube TV, so you can get in on all the love, all the greatness, some of the flubs, because it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. Check it out, YouTube TV. The Conversation Project lives online at this is theconversationproject.com. Stop by our website and see what we do every single day. We have links to all the places we are, all the replays, all the forums, and all the stuff. And some days are better than others. Today seems to be a low energy, tight day where things just weren't working. The tech was backed up, and it's just been a long week prepping into the Christmas season. Oh, by the way, December 15th means it is 10 days till Christmas. Don't mess that up. Meanwhile, we are here every single day doing things for you. Every single day we're posting on our feeds on Facebook and Twitter. We've told you about those. Every single day we answer emails via the conversation inbox at gmail.com. We told you about that. We want you to stop by our website to find more ways to connect with us, including the sponsors page and the partnerships page. If you want to help us do better things, bigger things, awesomer things in 2024, stop by our partnerships page and see if there's a way we can hook up on that one. We thank you in so much in advance for that. And since we are going down hard, let's get into the fun stuff and get out of here for the day. Fun stuff always begins every single weekday morning with birthdays, and today is no exception. We are going the Gen X route, more or less, or maybe the baby boomer route, going with Don Johnson turning 74 years old today. Whether Sonny Crockett is your flavor, or Nash Bridges, or you just like to hear the song Heartbeat in your head over and over again, because as terrible as it is, all the 80s and TV guys did themselves an album. Heartbeat is what we got from Don Johnson. It's a classic. It's there. We ain't getting rid of it. It's just sort of is what it is. Don Johnson turning 74 years old on the day today. Our history lesson for the day. In 1939, Gone with the Wind had its world premiere in Atlanta. I can say with all honesty, I've never seen the movie. I've seen basic clips of it. I've seen snippets of it. I may have walked past the TV with it on, but I've never seen the entire movie Gone with the Wind, and I have no intention to. I know the history. I know, there's a celebration. The first black person to win an Oscar who came from Gone with the Wind was playing, some mammy character. I just don't have time for it because, look at me. I just don't have time for it. Gone with the Wind is a treasured piece of cinema for the United States and I guess the world, if you will. I'm not all that keen about it. But on this day in history, the world premiere of Gone with the Wind happened in Atlanta, 1939. Also today in history, actual history, the Bill of Rights Day. Guess what? All these rights and things that we have that have been endowed with, we didn't actually have all of them from the get-go. In fact, from the start, this guy right here had pretty much none of them if I were back then. And so we're going to celebrate the Bill of Rights Day as the day where the Bill of Rights, essentially the first 10 amendments of the Constitution, took into effect. Now, it was ratified by Virginia essentially a little while before. So now, as of this day in 1791, getting two history lessons down, the first 10 spots, you know, the whole freedom of speech, right to bear arms, it wasn't pressed in the Constitution. So when people say it's in the Constitution, it's actually in the Bill of Rights, because the Constitution was not perfect. Bill of Rights also not perfect. It had to add more amendments, you know, by the way, to actually free me and give me a chance to vote and, you know, take away booze and put booze back in. You know those, remember those things. Bill of Rights, what actually gives us more outstanding rights as American citizens, going into effect December 15th, way back in 1791. Thank you, Thomas Jefferson. Thank you, John Adams. John Q. Adams as well. He had nothing to do with this one, but, you know, later on he'd do some stuff. And we're going to do some stuff to get out of here and prepare for a great Friday. Today, it didn't work out so well, but, you know, on the back end, it's a better day than some days. And some of us have not so great days. And when you do have a not so great day, we want you to find someone to chat with, find someone to talk to, find someone to engage with, and, you know, get yourself into a better place. If you can't find someone, call or text the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 988. That's simple. Just pull up your cell phone, 988. You'll get there. You can also visit them online at 988lifeline.org. 24/7, 7 days a week, someone's there to speak to you in English or Spanish to help you get through whatever it is getting through. The holidays isn't exactly the greatest time for many folks, but we've been hit, my family's been hit with a bunch of things. Literally this holiday, after a full, long list of things hit this year, we got some stress to get through to Christmas, and it just is what it is. And if you have stress to get through to Christmas, you need someone to talk to, check out the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. They will talk you through whatever it is you got going on. December the 15th, 2023, 10 days till Christmas. It is Friday, and it is time for the weekend. Hopefully you get some weekend days off, some downtime if you're a regular person. Otherwise, do your best to enjoy whatever you get for whenever weekend comes, and just enjoy some time coming forward. I'm Jay Cleveland Payne. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, part of us, part of the family. We cannot do this literally without you. Show up at the feeds and let us know what stories to talk about. Email us at the conversation inbox at gmail.com. Let me know what we can do to fix these things, and consider the partnerships page to work on things going forward. Stay limber, stay hydrated, stay on task for all the grand things you're up for to do through Christmas, through New Year's, through 2024, and beyond. Thank you so much for being with us. We got the weekend stuff, the weekly wrap up, the top 10 stories from your pure engagement. Some great stories haven't come up this week, and the story of the week. This one's going to be an interesting one. I haven't quite got a beat on where I'm going with this one yet, so this one might be a game time decision. We'll see what happens when we record those on Saturday. In the meantime, we'll see you Monday for another edition of Things You Might Have Heard. Give Living a Color a shot. Check them out. Check out the story. It's coming down the feed, so check it out. See if it's one that's worth talking about, because I really want to talk about it. Thank you. Love you. Mean it. We'll see you next time.